Greetings, exiles. This is Cod Raziel coming to you with Sir Reginald Amadeus Fortescue III and Frank. And today we're going to be talking to you about our Dragon Jooced Pick Your Poison Necromancer. First off, the reason you would want to play this build is because it's different. It clears pretty fast, it's cheap, it doesn't require a 6-link or even a 5-link, and it can run almost any map mod, as well as the fact that it can run with a variety of skills and be just as effective. Now unfortunately that comes with a price. You require pretty high chaos resistance to get the build to work, and it's very demanding on sockets as well. There's very little free space for changing. Alright, so let's have a look at the passive tree. We'll start with the ascendancy points and why we picked the Necromancer. First off, one of the most important things is Mistress of Sacrifice, which allows us to gain benefit from our spirit offering. Next up, we took Spirit Eater. This allows us to create enough corpses with a single spell echoed cast of Desecrate to get maximum benefit from our spirit offering. Commander of Darkness, we're running 4 to 5 auras, so this gives us 40% increased damage and 20% attack and cast speed, as well as 20% all elemental resistance. And lastly, we go for Beacon of Corruption. Beacon of Corruption is pretty good for the Dragon Jooced low life build because we gain 6 chaos resistance and 15 chaos resistance, giving us a free 21 chaos resistance, as well as increasing our chaos damage. So let's move on to the actual points. As you can see, we come out through the energy shield nodes, coming out of the witch, grabbing deep wisdom, going around to pain attunement and arcane vision, which we pick up later on at around level 70 or so. We then come through and grab the life and energy shield nodes written in blood, and grab Ghost Reaver for a little bit of extra ES regen from our leech. Come down, we're getting cold-hearted calculation. We come through nullification, which gives us life and energy shield, as well as grabbing sniper if we're doing the ethereal knives variation of the build. We come through Fangs of the Viper. Now this is pretty much 1.5 dipping, since at least half of our damage is chaos damage. We come through Entropy just to get some extra skill duration, as well as make our poison even stronger. Coordination, attack speed and cast speed in the same node, very great, we do a lot of that in this build. Grabbing Blood Siphon since we're scaling both life and energy shield. Just grab the physical and chaos damage for the 1.5 dipping again. Then we're going down to Charisma. This just fills out our mana and life nicely so that we don't reserve too much mana or life with our auras. And again, if we're EK, we grab Ballistic Mastery. And a Jewel Socket. While I'm on the jewels you'll want life and an energy shield on the same jewel. This is most important since we want to build up our pools, and our damage is substantial already. Although if you really wanted more damage, I guess you could get more damage. Alright, so after that we move down to make our Dragon Juice function. We come down through Foresight, which allows us to pick up energy shield when we need more energy shield. We come through, grab Potency of Will because we benefit a lot from duration in terms of poison duration, as well as spirit offering duration, and if you're using Blade Vortex, then obviously Blade Vortex duration. Come through Shaper. This gives us just a little bit of extra resistance against chaos degens. Come through, grab Constitution and Path of the Warrior. These two together allow us to balance out our life and energy shield as we choose. Come through, grab Sentinel, it's more elemental resistances. Exceptional performance, more duration. We then grab Arcane Chemistry, which allows us to use our Dragon Juice 3 times. And we grab Profane Chemistry. Now, this we'll go into a little bit later why we take these inferior life. We pick up Arcane Focus, Pain Attunement, and Arcane Vision. I picked up at around this time too. And then if we're doing the EK version of the build, we go through the Energy Shield and Recovery and the Intelligence node. If we're doing Blade Vortex or Blade Fall, we go through the Area of Effect, Blast Radius, and come out through here. We then grab Alchemist for the extra flask duration as well as increased effective flasks, which is great for our Atziri's Promise and Sorrow of the Divine. This is the spot in which we grab the Inspired Learning Jewel. If you're using Blade Vortex or Blade Fall, then you needn't pick up the power charge. If you're using Ethereal Knives, then obviously you pick up the power charge. And then we come over here to the dual wield attack and cast speed nodes, which end in Dark Arts, because these are nodes which increase our cast and attack speed, which allow us to whirl faster. And you gotta go fast. Now for the reason we grab Profane Chemistry. Basically when we're running through the labyrinth and going through traps, we're going to want to disable our discipline and use our full life pool for our Dragon Juice. And Profane Chemistry allows for a Panic Divine Life Flask to heal us to full for up to about 3,500 life. So that basically means that as I use Dragon Juice, I can completely heal myself to full and gain that excellent 1400 energy shield regen per second. For bandits, we've killed them all because more skill points. Let's check out our gear. First off, in going with the theme of scaling both our poison damage and our regular damage through double dipping, we are running a Red Beak Rusted Sword, which gives us 100% increased damage when on low life. So that's going to increase our actual damage by 100%, and then it's going to increase our poison damage by a further 100%. In our offhand we have Bina's Kitchen Knife, which is primarily for Blade Fall and Ethereal Knives, just to spread the poison about and help our clear speed. With Blade Vortex this isn't necessary, as your poison stacks are typically not big enough to justify using Bina's. Next up we have the core of our mana sustaining ability, and that is the Vertex. Now what the Vertex does is reduces our mana cost by 50% for the skill linked in it. So we have our 4 linked Ethereal Knives, Poison, Pierce and Void Manipulation, which is only costing us 20 per cast. For jewelry we have just some regular life, energy shield and resistance gear. You're probably going to want both percent energy shield and a high maximum life roll on your amulet, because that 20% increased energy shield ends up being quite a bit. For our last ring, we can either use another rare ring such as this one here, life, resistances and so on, or you can use a Ming's Heart. Now this increases our damage, gives us a lot of chaos resistance at the cost of some of our life and energy shield, which on my build equates to just about over 300 of both. Not too bad because we have a decent energy shield pool already. For the gloves, if you're doing Ethereal Knives you use the Winds of Change. If you're using Blade Fall or Blade Vortex, then you just use some rare gloves with life, energy shield and resistances. For our belt, we add some extra chaos resistance. We also want a very high life roll on this, and reduced flask charges used. I think the minimum is 18% to allow for 3 uses of our Dragon Juice. For boots, you'll basically, same as gloves, if you're doing blade fall or blade vortex, then you'll want a nice rare pair of boots. Whether or not you want movement speed on them is up to you. If you're doing ethereal knives, then brine rot waders are probably your best choice, since they increase our physical damage and our projectile damage, as well as giving us a decent amount of energy shield. Another option is lionized paws. This will allow us to not be stunned. Unfortunately, it comes at the price of having very low movement speed while not whirling. So the choice is yours there. For our flasks, we are using the Sorrow of the Divine. This is only really necessary if you're using Beanos, because this allows you to regenerate your energy shield when you're not taking chaos damage. Next up, we have our Dragon Juice combo. This gives us a small amount of healing to our energy shield, and also allows us to defend ourselves against very heavy chaos damage. When you're using these flasks, you want to use them both almost simultaneously, but you want to start with the Dragon Juice. So you tap Dragon Juice, then the Divine Life Flask, instantly one after the other, like that. Then as you can see, I had one life there for a second, but it's back to full already. Next up, we have Eteri's Promise. This adds even further physical to chaos damage. We have Ming's Heart for 20%, Eteri's Promise for an extra about 30%, and then we have Spirit Offering, which in my case is 41%, since we have the Helm enchant. Spirit Offering grants 12% of physical damage as extra chaos damage. So while our DPS isn't so impressive, once we activate all of our added chaos damage, as like so, see, now we're doing more chaos damage than physical damage. We pop our Zeri Flask, and now we're doing a lot more chaos damage than physical damage. This is great for physical reflect mode. If you're using Blade Vortex, then you'll want another red beak in your offhand. Okay, as for skill links, we've got Ethereal Knives, Poison, Pierce, Void Manipulation. If you're running Blade Vortex, then you would take out Pierce for increased area of effect, and with Blade Fall you can use Concentrated Effect or increased area of effect depending on your preference. Next up, we have our Blood Magic auras, which are Clarity and Discipline. And on our life we have Haste and Grace, and we just put a little flame dash in there for when we need to cross gaps and whatnot. In our gloves we have split 2 links, which is quite necessary since Immortal Call, when attached to Spell Totem and Cast when Damage Taken, will not work with Cast when Damage Taken. And then on the Spell Totem we have Wither. Wither is really nice because it double dips on a little over half of our damage, and then on the poison that results from that. On our boots we have Summon Lightning Golem, Spirit Offering, both linked with faster casting and increased duration, for no other reason than that this is the socket that's available for Lightning Golem. Lastly, we have faster casting linked to Desecrate and Spell Echo. Now the faster casting is not necessary here, but it is nice to have. As you can see, it doesn't take us very long to get our setup going, and it does last for a decent amount of time with all our duration nodes. The duration with a single corpse is just under 9 seconds, and it becomes way longer once you have 9 corpses. In place of the Lightning Golem, you could also use a Flame Golem. That would give you some more increased damage and make you do slightly more damage, but I think that Lightning Golem is best at this point because we need the extra speed more than we need the extra damage. And that is that. So from myself, Sir Reginald Amadeus Fortescue III, and Frank, we bid you good day. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more Dragon Jooced builds, or budget builds, then do like this video, subscribe if you'd like to keep track of me, and happy dragon juicing.